Hi everyone, welcome to your spread. I felt called to do this largely because I wanted to see if any messages and cards that fall out this evening will be helpful for the energies that we are currently in. I'm doing this live stream in November 2025, shortly after having had a very intense collective severe geomagnetic storm. I've been keeping up with the details about about the recordings and the findings of the results of the geomagnetic storm, more than the sudden auroras that have showed up in places of the northern hemisphere. It's also said to, and I've been posting about this everywhere, it's said to affect your digestive system, your cardiovascular system. And I'm getting all this information from Stefan Burns. I'll post the video in which he talks about this. By now, the geomagnetic storm has died, but it was pretty alive about half a day ago, and it did take its toll on people in my community, on myself. And I figured with all the intensity of that, there's nothing to add, I don't really have much of a channeling intuitively outside of what I've already shared, which I will also link in the description of this video regarding the astronomical influence on our physical bodies and on the sun, which in turn reacts and affects us too. It's lots going on right now. So today I just wanted to pull cards, see what they have to say, and tune in purely into that. So let us see. Yeah. I've received this card twice today. Well, this is the second time. This is the second time I'm receiving the Three of Discs. On a personal level, I'm grateful to be in this energy. I'm grateful for what this brings because it feels like a pause and a moment for break and I guess it aligns with the new moon that's coming up in about a week regarding taking stock and setting new intentions and all of that stuff. But this feels to do with debris. I'm receiving the frequency of debris. Looking at a situation, experience, or something after something has exploded or some huge change has taken place, either externally or within you. Likely within you, though, and I'm getting the frequency of this card also inviting a relook at your material world, not just your money, looking at the money you earn. Okay, so consider, maybe this is something you've been considering, whether or not the money that you have access to in your direct world, whether it be a balance that you have or the money that you earn or the money that you generally have at your disposal at the end of the month. Maybe it's a matter of taking stock of that, looking at your monthly expenses, and deciding that you cannot upkeep what you've been doing, or deciding that you want more likely deciding that you want more. I'm receiving the frequency of just wanting more out of life. Realizing that you deserve it, realizing that I'm getting the sense of a re-evaluating of the term of luxury, and that's been a recurring theme throughout this year for all of us, considering the survival frequency that's been taunting us and how expensive everything's getting and Let's shuffle and see what else this energy could have to do with. This fell out instantly. Seven of Cups is another card that has been basically haunting me. And the energy of discernment, I think, has been haunting a lot of us as a collective for a few months now, more specifically since the beginning of Scorpio season, especially tropical Scorpio season. Especially because the frequency of Scorpio and the shady shadowiness, secrets, taboos, the things that have sat and festered in the dark, an enjoyment of those things, an enjoyment of hiding things. I'm getting that frequency. But I don't know where that comes from. Anyway, discernment season. Both cards to me speak of the frequency of looking at something and deciding about it, you know? Although, please bring in your intuition. This feels like it doesn't feel like too deep of a decision to make, whatever it is that you need to do. Maybe you're thinking about the next stage of your life in general, the next phase. The energy itself is so ambiguous. To get to a final resolve about whatever this thing is that we're dealing with collectively. This thing that we need to exercise our discernment with and practice our intuition, sharpen our intuition against. I feel called to tap into the 3 of discs. All in all, I must say I appreciate the stillness of this reading and how, like, what I'm overall getting is there's no chaos. The chaos is already done. We're in a state of, it's like the universe is giving us a chance to clean up and pause, you know. No one's going to kick us again. Nothing too crazy is going to happen. No random expense is going to come out, and it's not going to be so expensive that it's going to like hurt your chest, you know. Should a random expense come, because we are in Mercury retrograde season. But I'm really getting a sense of not so much like a feeling, but more like, okay, time to like look at, okay, I got the sense of playing a chess game and it's your turn to make the move, and you are taking time to think about what the next move is. The nuances of what that involves, the many thoughts that you line up, the brief moments of uncertainty of, wait, is this actually the right decision? But fuck, what if this messes up? You know, it feels like that's where we're all at right now in general, in whatever area of our lives. I know that this is me personally with my material world, where I'm realizing that there's still something lacking with my ability to connect with a sense of luxury and enjoyment of life, a sense of being deserving to have a good time, knowing what a good time is, telling the difference between what's actually a good time and what's just a trauma response for me or a safe space. Lots of things, lots of contemplation is filling this gap that we're in. This speaks of an overview of life, seeing how things fit, satisfactory business or portfolio career, position in society. Could be a hint to take an open-minded look at your life, its objectives and quality, and linking these 2 cards together. There is the phrases overview of life, seeing how things fit, and using use whatever, but don't use logic. Don't try to use your brain. Don't try to understand this through a rigid box, whatever this situation is. I hate speaking on this frequency because of how scary it is to actually apply, especially in these times when a sense of material safety is a privilege. If there's an idea that you've been wanting to sprout, that you've been afraid that you don't have the financial backing for, or that you're afraid won't be as lucrative, try to think of it from a different angle, because it's not by mistake that you got that idea. Whatever your idea is, or your inclination or inspiration to start or do, no matter how strange it is, please try to look at it from a more open lens. Maybe a job shift or choosing a different career that doesn't suit you. You're leaning into doing that. Just look, I'm not saying jump all in, but there's another angle to it that is not clear to you yet. And you should try to open your mind about it. You can also trust, I feel called to remind you to trust your sense of judgment. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Whatever the answer is, it's not going to come from anywhere else but you. Because you're going to be the one to decide. And you have the Magician at the bottom of the deck, by the way. So you definitely could do with a lot more self-trust in this time. Okay. All right. I think I can stop the reading after this card. The pause, the moment of pause that I'm saying is, this is a gift. Use this period of your life, whenever it is that you're watching this reading, as from the universe, like a here. Just I keep wanting to encourage a sense of rest, but this isn't technically a sense of rest. It's not a period of rest. It's a period of taking stock. And it's not so much a deep analysis either. It feels like whatever the answer is, it's not far from you. It's just a matter of working with what you've got. Okay, work with what you've got. With this venture that you have, work with what you've got. Don't be afraid to be bad. You have high standards. Random channeling. You have high standards. Firstly, this idea was given to you. This is a card of angels and angelic protection and oversight. This idea was given to you on purpose. Again, I'm repeating myself. It was given to you on purpose, so don't try to let go of trying to make things perfect on the first try, on the first go. Random one. Try to take in all angles. There's still things that you're missing here. You need to take in the whole picture, the yin and the yang, and it needs to be given to you. It needs to be worked through, sorry. I mean, this period of time is something given to you to work through stuff. Get organized. Pay your taxes. But yeah, maybe that's something that you need to do. I'd like to continue looking. I think that as well, it may be that whatever material thing that you're dealing with, whatever worldly thing that you're dealing with, that you're trying to decide about, it seems to make you feel in a way that you think is not clear to you, that you think I think that you think that the way that you feel about this thing that you're trying to make a decision on disallows you from making a clear call. Again, trust your judgment. You have the King of Discs at the bottom of the deck, and then you have the Moon, which is very much this kind of thing where there are still, where there are still things hidden to you don't know about, that you will have to work through, that you will work through successfully, right? But you have to give it time. And this is an annoying phrase. I'm always saying it, especially nowadays, but it's the truth in terms of especially what we're experiencing right now. You can't rush this. You can't rush this. You can't rush the training as well of your intuition and trying to discern. You can't rush that process. Please be aware of that and try not to rush yourself into deciding. Analysis paralysis is okay for the situation because you quite literally you don't have everything. You don't have all the info you need. I might be talking to a Libra. These are also symbols of balance. So shout out to you if you're a Libra placement. If you have Libra in your personal planets through either chart, sidereal or tropical. What's up, baby? Are you done eating?
one that I don't.
Okay, let me finish. We'll talk about it. A random one to please stay hydrated. Please look after your hydration, especially important during geomagnetic storms and deeply intense energetic waves and shifts. But it also might be helpful if you just stay hydrated. It does definitely help me. And I think as a biological, physiological fact, it is helpful to stay hydrated. You will make better decisions. You'll be able to think clearly, you know. I think it's a very natural assumption that you think better when you're hydrated. There isn't anyone. You can push it open. Yeah, I'm mostly receiving patience. That there is there's a decision that you feel you need to make about your life, your living circumstances, your money, your job, your career, and you're putting a lot. You may or may not be putting a lot of urgency in needing to find out what the answer is. Excuse me. There is a decision that you are trying to make regarding your material circumstances. Yes, like I've said, lots of pressure. Please know whatever methods you used to use before, whatever logic you think you can apply to the situation, it doesn't belong here. Follow your passion. Follow your passion. But truly, I saw this tweet and I'd retweeted it. It said, the economy is so bad, you may as well follow your dreams and see where it goes. Quite literally. Literally. Invest, put the time in, put the money in. Don't be afraid don't be afraid to put energy into yourself, into what you love, into whatever it is. Include that in your budget. Be aware of the way that you budget, because that may be affecting the way that you manifest. Don't budget out of fear, for example, you know. Yeah. I was thinking about what could remedy the frequency of this, because this does give something, it gives a level of confusion in that it's obviously going to take practice to really nail your intuition in a way that aligns with your truth, which you're also still learning how to align with, right? We all are at this stage, we always are. And that leads to a sense of confusion in that period of waiting. And I was wondering, what's the remedy to that? But this is the remedy, to wait. So be patient. Try to be very patient. It feels like if you try to rush this, you might make a very misaligned decision and then get yourself caught up again in another cycle of whatever it is that you're clearly trying to break free from. It may be like a relationship or connection cycle where it is that you keep finding yourself in the orbit of things that overtake from you, or where you overgive, maybe in a work situation, or you find yourself in jobs that you can't sustain, but that feels very specific. That doesn't resonate, that you can leave that. As with anything, obviously. If it doesn't resonate, just pass it on. Yeah, it's taking stock season. Try to stay grounded. Please remember how the King of Discs is somebody who has absolute faith in the material security of his reality. He doesn't worry about, and I'm speaking specifically of the frequency of safety. He doesn't worry about what ifs because he knows that he's always secure. It is because of his own work and because of what he has done to earn his place and in the sense of security. But what needs to be applied here, I think, on a personal level, is just the sense of security and the knowing that everything's going to be fine. You know, I don't imagine the King of Discs is somebody that when faced with situations like this feels hopeless, apathetic, too tired, and even maybe in his exhaustion, he knows when to stop and drop it and say, okay, I clearly don't have the answers. Let me take a beat and let the answer come. You know, be natural about it. But obviously, with the two major arcana cards of, to me, like the exact opposite of urgency and rush. The exact opposite. This is very slow energy to me. This is a very slow burn of something that's going to come to light. I think that's all I have for this reading. I hope that was helpful in helping you understand more than anything the part that your confidence in yourself and in your intuition has to play in making your decisions. It's not just about needing to frantically make sure that everything is in order and you have checked every box and whatever. I'm also sensing that I might be speaking to a Virgo placement in your personal planets, like the urgency to keep things completely under control. You've got this. You are kind of like well trained enough, so to speak, in the art of like keeping things together, keeping things neat and grounded. Whatever you've done before is not going to work in this situation, whatever it is that you're needing to work through. And you need to be patient with your story and try to pay attention. I'm going to close off with the interpretation from the Temperance card, because I think I love the messaging there, and I think it's always helpful to hear what the interpretation of Temperance has to say when it shows up in a reading. Balancing energies in your life and balancing energies in yourself and your life. Replenishment of the conscious through creative interaction with the unconscious. Openings, a new sense of connection. An angelic helper manifested in the outer world. Awareness of when action or inaction is necessary. Patience, silence. With the moon, the linking ideas, I'd say what urgently comes up with the moon, accompanied with the moon, because the moon is here. What is most important is replenishment of the conscious through creative interaction with the unconscious. So I would definitely recommend meditation during this time, and with the assistance of like frequency sounds. I would also highly recommend journaling and free-form writing, free-form journaling, where you're not thinking about your writing, you just go. I would also recommend working with water, praying over a glass of water. It needs to be glass and see-through. It's necessary. I just think the energy travels better through glass than plastic. And pray over it to ask you for answers or to give you something through your dreams. Lots of subconscious work, very important. Whatever happens in your subconscious will be very helpful in helping you decide how to move forward. Don't worry about the results of whatever decisions you make or the consequences. It feels like you hold on too tightly to that. You do too much of, but if I do this, this will happen. It won't happen. You don't know what will happen, right? You don't know what will happen. I think that's it. I think that's all I have. And I think that Okay, I'm recording this video a week out, like I'd said, from the new moon, but be aware of whatever moon phase you're in when you're watching this, as it will be extremely important. If you're by a body of water, God bless, thank the heavens that that's happening for you right now, because I'd do anything to be by a body of water right now. But if you are, then I highly suggest you go to that and pray. Or if that action doesn't really sit well with you, then you could just sit silently by that water. I think it would give you a lot of very useful insights. If you can do that at night, further God bless you, because I love nighttime anything, prayer. It's just amazing, but please be safe. That's my first instinct to say. And be aware of the tides of your emotions, the way they rise and fall, what causes them to rise and fall. That might be helpful in helping you discern, figure out what's going on. Maybe you're trying to work through like a destructive habit. Be aware of destructive habits, as they may lead to some answers about yourself and your wounding during this time. Yeah. I don't know what significance this has, but if you've seen the video of how the oceans follow the movement of the moon, something about that feels important, but I'm not entirely sure why that is. Hopefully that does something for you. But otherwise, I think I've said everything I need to say. Thank you so much for watching. I am always so grateful to be reading for you and to be doing this work. Sorry, I thought I was so consistent, right? Everything was going so well, and then I fell off. The storm, the energies, I've been exhausted. This recent geomagnetic storm affected my son terribly, where on the very first day that it started, he had awful diarrhea. We're dealing with it. Thankfully, it's died down now, but it was crazy to deal with, and it's been deeply affecting both of our sleeps, and which obviously affects my mental health personally. So it's been a lot. But thank you. I'm so grateful for everybody who still tunes in, even through my inconsistencies. And yeah, I will see you in the next reading.